Altogether, we felt that the new generation Sorento, compared to the previous one, should have a more on-road attitude. So the car got longer altogether, quite a bit actually, almost 10 centimeters longer compared to previous generation. But also we reduced the heights of the car, which gave it a more self-confident, almost more muscular attitude. And we also made the car a little bit wider compared to previous generation. And all these elements really gave the car a whole different attitude on the road compared to the previous generation Sorento. Of course, when you work on a next generation vehicle, you've got to bring a certain amount of innovation, yet you don't want to lose all the heritage and the DNA of the previous car. So there were a few things that were very important for us to keep, one of them being the window graphic, which is very, very typical of Sorento, was this very fast sweeping rear pillar of the car. So we kept that obviously, and went to the high belt line as well. But we felt that some new elements needed to come, one of them being to show more three-dimensionality in the overall shapes and the body of the car. And we decided to add a shoulder to the car. Previous generation Sorento didn't have shoulders. They just had a crease line underneath the window. But this generation definitely shows some volume on the shoulder. So it's a big difference to the previous car. Another trick, let's say, that designers tend to use when designing a vehicle is try to put themselves in the shoes of the customers, to try to really imagine who the customer is, and basically you're trying to design the car for yourself, imagining yourself as the customer. That was particularly easy for me to do in this case because I've been driving old generation Sorento since the very first one, so I'm probably one typical Sorento customer. So doing next generation one, I knew exactly what we had to do, especially with the interior, to bring it one step forward. Another thing that's very important when designing a car is to think of what position this car is playing in the overall range of the brand, and what the role of this car will be for the brand and moving the brand forward. Now in Europe, Sorento is obviously our top of the line, it's our flagship. So it plays a very important role for us here. It needs to embody and to have everything that represents the best we can do. Best quality, best craftsmanship, best perceived quality in every aspect. And this is one area in interior where you can really play with that, really up. So basically what we try to do is bring the Sorento in a completely new level of perceived luxury for us. And we played a lot with the architecture of the interior to achieve that. So being the top of the range for us in Europe, we needed to really bring some new levels of sophistication in the interior. We achieved a lot of that by working on the materials. The whole interior, not just the IP, the upper and the lower and the doors, everything is in soft material, in very high grade materials. As well, the bright pieces, the aluminum pieces, we consciously decided not to go with like the polished look or the chrome look, but more a satin finish that we felt made it a lot more valuable altogether, not too bling, but just very self-confident preciousness about it. Also the type of vehicle that Sorento is, the way you sit in it, you have this commanding attitude almost. You're the commander-in-chief of the vehicle, very upright, very high seating position. That's also something that needs to be expressed in the architecture of the IP and the interior. So you have a very proud posture almost in the interior, how you're sitting with a high tunnel, and also how the elements, the commanding, the cockpit of the car almost is laid out towards the driver. All those elements are very, very important for such a car. So those are things that we put a lot of attention and a lot of work into. For me personally, it's still amazing to see where we've come from with Kia in such a short time. I've now worked on a few generations of cars, been part of the design revolution that we did at Kia, and I know the role that each vehicle has played in positioning the brand one step ahead each time, and I know what this Sorento will be doing for the brand, which makes me particularly proud, of course, knowing that we've worked on it, and I know where we're gonna be in 5 years' time and how this Sorento will have helped us on that way. So as I said, every car is playing its own role in the overall strategy that the brand has to move forward. And that's, for a designer, being part of that, being able to write that story, that's probably the most exciting bit you can imagine.